Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Whitney Larson. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Horizontal Digital, and I'm honored to be joined here with our CTO, Sheetal Jain, and our Salesforce Practice Managing Director, Anil Palania. This session is all about demystifying Data Cloud, but I also want to make sure that in this session we talk about the importance that data has on delivering connected experiences. You know, we hear a lot of questions from our customers about not only how to use a CDP, but the importance of centralized data. And some of the questions that we hear are, why do I need a centralized view of my customer? How do I use that data in a sales instance or even a service instance to provide better sales and service experiences? How can I provide more personalized experiences? And how do we centralize this across an organization? So for you tuning in, you might have a lot of these same questions. And if you do, then this session is for you. We're going to dive deep into all of these topics, not only what a CDP is, but how you can leverage it to make it the best for your organization. So with that, let's dive in. Sheetal, I want to open it up with you. You know, we've really seen a data evolution over the past few years. It started as understanding key insight for your business, to the rise of understanding real customer relationships through CRMs, and now it's with CDPs and organizing all organizations' data. And we found that, according to a recent McKinsey report, data-driven organizations are 23 times more likely to acquire customers, and they're also growing an average of 30% each year. Those are huge numbers. So Sheetal, you're on the front lines. How have you seen companies organize their data strategy, and why do you believe that data is important now more than ever?
Thank you, Whitney. I think first and foremost, we need to understand that data always existed in organizations. Since the start of the time, if you look at store managers, keeping their store records, keeping their stock units on a yellow notepad paper, to today using intelligent dashboards in helping a customer find that particular product in 1,500 stores nationwide and free shipping it. So data has always been there. The real meat lies in how do you put that data into action. Collection of data has advanced so much that in this modern age of cloud computing with SaaS-based product, collection and aggregation of data is faster than ever. Post-pandemic, how we all as organizations have moved into a full-blown digital reality, customer expects real-time updates to their product purchases, to their product listings, or to their customer service requests. So organizations need to understand how does data get to a point where it is meaningful and actionable. To boil it down, I think data can be correlated into 4 different phases. The first phase is data, then information, knowledge, and wisdom. They may appear as very simplistic terms, so let's boil it down a little bit. What is data? Data is purely collection of your data. Almost every organization, whether they are operating physically or operating digitally or operating both, have that data. We can all agree to that fact. So everybody has that data. So what is that next step? As I said, information. Now, information of data is pretty much who is your customer, what segment they belong to, what is their age group, what is their segmentation based on geography. Organization needs to understand what their customer bases are so that it is one step closer to understanding who their customer is. Now, the third step is going to be knowledge. Knowledge about what their customers are doing, both physically, online, or even digitally. Now, that can be correlated into what we call as patterns of customers' behavior. So we understand behavior of customer using that phase. But the real essence is in the fourth step, which is wisdom. Wisdom is understanding and anticipating your customer's next move and helping them close that gap. So finally, in these 4 stages, all the way from data, information, knowledge, to finally wisdom is where customers can take advantage. Now also, I would like to stress on a couple of different facts here that organizations have 2 types of assets, tangible assets and intangible assets. For Amazon, what is a tangible asset? It's its product. You can put a price to that product. That's tangible asset. That's the heart of what Amazon sells. But more importantly, the intangible asset, it's data, the recommendations around it. So though when you look at the intangible asset, you cannot put value to that because the value of data is immeasurable. So even if you look at how Amazon sells its 50% of its products, more than 50% of its products, just by recommendations, tells you what data can do to customer behavior. So I feel in a nutshell, it's not about the data. It is about the actionable intelligence you put around that data.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think what's super interesting is how you brought it down to the recommendation engine behind it. That's the power of data. And so Anil, I want to flip it to you. We talked about why data is important. Now I want to talk about how do you actually do it?
How brands and companies these days are using and making intelligent data-driven decisions. I'll take some examples from our
Yeah.
And I'm not going to use Amazon because he is already used, though I'm very surprised knowing that Amazon sells 50% of its products through recommendation. I did not know that. But do you watch Netflix with me?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Then you should know that Netflix uses machine algorithms behind the scenes to capture your preferences and your behaviors and then serves recommended content back to you.
That's how it knows what I should watch next based on what I've been engaging with previously.
Absolutely. And I know for a fact that Sheetal is a big Spotify fan. He listens to really good EDMs in his car. But I think you already know, being a technologist, Sheetal, that Spotify captures the music that you listen and uses that information to serve you curated playlists.
Not only that, one important point here is not only serving curated list, but more importantly, Spotify has the power to serve music by the time I'm listening it. So most likely when I'm going to office, it is going to serve me more podcast. And in the evening, it's going to serve me some EDM music because I really want to pump up my 20 days artist. So I think that is really powerful when we look at that. Yeah.
But how do they do that? How do these companies aggregate all this information and serve it up in real time?
So obviously they use a lot of technology behind it, such as capturing data in various forms through various channels, then using analytics to process that information, and then using machine learning and real-time personalization tools and techniques to, again, coming back to the analogy, to convert that data into knowledge and hopefully into wisdom, and then harness the power of the knowledge and the wisdom that you have compiled about your customer to serve them what they actually need when they need it and cater to their ever-evolving needs in real time. And there are tons of examples as of today, such as Walmart. Walmart uses big data behind the scenes to analyze the buying patterns of their customers, to optimize their supply chain, and most importantly, to even predict the demand for their products.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about not only going from information all the way through wisdom, and I think that's really the power of the evolution we've experienced, but you also brought up some examples that weren't just marketing focused. I think we tend to talk about data and the centralization of data in a marketing lens, and I loved how you talked about supply chain management and understanding how to store and optimize products on the shelves based off of that business insight. And so I want to dive a little bit further into the difference between being data informed as an organization and being data driven as an organization. I think some of the examples you gave about even just like the back-end systems beyond a marketing lens really showcase the power of being data driven as an organization as a whole.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about the difference between being data informed versus data driven and why it's so important to be data driven?
I think most of the times, when I talk to my customers and talk about this importance of data, or the journey an organization has to take from being data informed to data driven, fundamentally, they believe that it is a very complicated and a time-consuming exercise. And I want to make sure that I demystify that myth, saying that not necessarily it is time-consuming, but it is a multi-step approach. Now, we live in a world where every single day, marketing teams of organizations are sending thousands of email messages, hundreds of text messages if you subscribe to them. then there is online activity, then there is paid targeting online in your searches. So with this tremendous amount of data, customer is confused. Customer is not trusting the results they are seeing, or we are bombarding them with relevant and irrelevant information. Statistically, if you look at it, only 10% of information is relevant. And the reason behind this is many organizations, even for 5-7 years, they have been trying to do personalization, but they stop at, "Hi Whitney, welcome to my store."
Right.
That's it. But more deeper and meaningful experiences are defined by actionable data. Hence, being data informed is one step, understanding your customers so that you can come to a point where you have to meet where your customer is, right? You can't expect your customer to meet where they are, right? So now, what means that the journey from data informed to data driven depends upon multi or omni-channel experiences, which means that trying to identify all the different type of avenues your customer is interacting with your brand and tie them together.
And that's more than just digital means, right? Tying together through omni-channel, it's through departments, it's through in-person and digital channels.
Exactly. And for there, what you need to understand is that you may have heard of that term called unified profile. A lot of people say a single source of truth or golden record, but more importantly, how do you allow stitching of that data, understanding that data, and then applying insights in a record amount of time? That is the challenge people don't understand, because that moment has gone. The need of customers is changing every single day. Until yesterday, a customer was really looking to buy a mattress. Today, the customer has the mattress. So there is a span of a day where your marketing entire landscape changes. So it is important to understand that the speed at which this has to be done really has to help. Now, we have given great examples of big enterprises like Amazon, Spotify, Tesla, Uber. But customers say that I am not Amazon. I don't have deep pockets. And the answer to those customers is you don't have to have that. What you need to have is a sound strategy of understanding your customer and the right choice of products.
And I love that you brought up choosing the right tool based on the capabilities that they have. You brought up Salesforce. They announced Data Cloud. Is Data Cloud a CDP?
No, I don't think Data Cloud is not a CDP.
Okay.
It can do everything what a CDP can do, but it's much more than CDP.
So is it an MDM?
No, not really.
Is it a data lake then? Data warehouse?
No, I think interestingly, I think this is a question actually we get a lot.
What is it?
Yeah, I think we get this question a lot. Whitney, it's funny that you just mentioned a series of things which are important in this data evolution. You mentioned data warehouse, you mentioned data lakes, you did mention CDP. I think Data Cloud, if anything, it comes closest to a CDP. But one thing is it's much more beyond than just customer data platform, because it has the ability to do unified profile like a lot of CDP does. But I feel that Data Cloud is beyond CDP, and I think Anil, would you like to add a little bit more on that?
In my simplistic language, I would say that Salesforce Data Cloud is none of these,
Okay.
but at the same time, it is all of these and more. And I'll tell you why I say that. So let's start with data warehouse. Data warehouse is where you collect your data into a single repository, but your data could be structured, semi-structured, unstructured. In Salesforce Data Cloud, you keep structured data. So it's not really a data warehouse from that lens.
Sure.
Talking about data lake, Salesforce Data Cloud use data lake in the back end for all its processing and whatnot, but only for text data, not really for videos, not really for images or any other formats of data. MDM, it comes very close to, but MDM, whenever anyone thinks of MDM, the first thing that comes to their mind is a golden record.
Right.
So in today's world, CDPs are looked from the lens of marketing as a tool that makes our marketing more personalized, more segmented, more accurate. But Data Cloud can do all of it, and much more. The consumers of a data cloud are now beyond marketing. Your customer service agents can use Data Cloud Unified Profile. Your sales teams can use, even your commerce teams can use your unified profiles. So CDPs, while are perceived in the context of marketing, and truly so, data cloud boundaries go much beyond this. And that's why I said that data cloud is none of it,
Much more, but all of it.
all of it, and more.
If someone is comparing Salesforce Data Cloud with CDP, I could tell them very, very clearly on a very initial note is that a lot of the CDPs and Data Cloud can do a good job of ingressing data, which means it is ingestion of data. You have multiple different platforms, you can ingest that data. A lot of CDP platforms can do that. Data Cloud does that too. Then there is what we call is modeling of that data or creating that unification, probabilistic or deterministic, right? So you create that particular unification of data. A lot of CDPs can do, Salesforce Data Cloud can do. That is a pivotal point. From here on, a lot of CDPs which they cannot do and Data Cloud do is definitive data actions. But the real power is simple. The scale and the speed with which Data Cloud can manage, churn data, and provide customers with those actions, immediate actions, just makes it powerful because it is almost like a composable monolith. And by that, what I mean is that it is nimble enough to fit into any organization, but it is big enough to do a large part of the work. But what customer needs to understand is with Data Cloud, you get just much more than customer data platform with this inbuilt custom actions, inbuilt flows, which basically speeds up the process to provide those intelligent actions. So I feel the real power is lying there. And I think, that ambiguity needs to be cleared out.
Tune into our next episode of Demystifying Data Cloud, where we'll talk through data strategy and why the right tool doesn't matter if you don't have a sound strategy in place.